Hi, I have not done a video for a very long time, and this video is maybe a little bit shocking. I'm very excited. As you have probably guessed from the title, I am pregnant. I am currently 20 weeks pregnant and I have just announced it on socials and on this video. So I'm halfway through my pregnancy and it's all very, very exciting and we're super, super happy and just getting used to the idea that we're going to be having a baby. But since I have announced it on social media, I've obviously got a few questions, a few concerns about my lifestyle. What is going to happen? Am I still going to be able to dive? Will I still be traveling? Everything in between. So I'm just going to do like a chatty vlog today about my pregnancy and talk to you a bit about, I guess, my plans and what you can expect to see on this channel. I mean, I definitely have been neglecting YouTube for a while. Things have been super, super busy at Girls at Scuba since travel has come back and trips are back. And we have been like chock-a-block full of trips. And we are doing, obviously at the moment, 2022 trips. And we have just released and sold out 2023 trips. So it has been a whirlwind of logistics, organisation, and of course no scuba diving for me anyway, but there wouldn't have even been any on the cards at the moment because of the organisation of the trip season that we're going through. However, it has been incredible to see the growth of Girls at Scuba over the last year. It's been kind of mind-blowing. I mean, we're in our 6th year. It's going to be like our 6th birthday in July, I think. So it's only been 6 years for Girls at Scuba, but each year I'm like shocked, like super shocked that it keeps growing, keeps getting bigger, and basically just keeps getting it going into a direction of like everything I've ever like dreamed and wanted it to be, and so much more, because I feel like more opportunity is coming around, especially with more of you, more members. It's just been super exciting times, and yeah, I'm just really, really happy and proud of what we have created so far. So I've been working a lot on that while we were pregnant, but let me tell you a bit about my pregnancy story. So look, let's get straight into it. I definitely didn't think in my life that I would become a mum or that I would have kids until I met my husband. But rewind a bit, I actually didn't want kids for a very long time, I guess up until I was like 30. We're going to fit in with my lifestyle, but equally I could just never ever picture myself being a mum. I could never picture myself being with somebody who I wanted to become a parent with. I think also there's been an aspect of when I lost my mum 10 years ago, me kind of feeling like I would never be able to become a mum because I don't have a mum, you know? And I remember always thinking like, that's just not a role that I can just naturally go into because I don't have that person to lead me anymore. I was 22 when my mum died and we'd never spoken about pregnancy. We'd never spoken about, you know, becoming a parent, birth or anything like that. And then almost by default, I just felt like, well, if I don't have a mum, then I haven't got anyone to tell me what to do. And I'm like, not going to know what to do. And like, I think it just completely ruled it out. Like once my mum died and once I started traveling, and was just like, that's not going to happen for me. But as we all know, everyone changes. And I actually I love change. I embrace change. I quite frequently say to my friends and family, the only consistent thing in my life is change. Now, obviously, my mind changed when I met my now husband about nearly 4 years ago. Everything changed for me, everything completely. I don't know, some of you, if you're probably watching from Instagram or Facebook, may know our story a bit more. On YouTube, I've never really discussed how I met my husband, but we met on a train in London. And honestly, it was a bit of a whirlwind romance. And we got engaged about a year later. And we got married a year and a half after that. So we've been married nearly a year now. But even when I first met him, I remember him telling me that he wanted kids and me being like, I'm not sure, but probably still in my head being like, no, I don't think I want kids. But kind of saying to him, like, I'm really not sure about it yet. And like, he was totally fine, totally cool. I mean, we didn't discuss it like loads to begin with. I think when we met and fell in love super quickly, and we definitely knew that we wanted to be with each other for the rest of our lives. And we talked about marriage a lot. We talked about getting married, but we didn't talk about kids, definitely not for the first year. And then we kind of started talking about them more and more. And, everything changes, for me anyway, when you meet the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And as like our relationship developed, as I learned more about Joel and who he is and like what an incredible person he is, I was just like, he would literally be the most amazing dad. And I think for the first time ever, I was like, maybe I didn't want kids because I wasn't ever with the right person, and I didn't think that I would ever be with the right person. And so that kind of thought started happening, and I started thinking more and more about what it would be like having kids with Joel. And that's where my mindset changed. It was having kids with him. It was not like having kids, and suddenly everything was fitting into place, making more sense. Anyway, you know how the rest goes. We decided we did want to have kids. And I guess we decided that like last year after we got married, actually. A very long, thoughtful process for me. And I definitely wanted to make sure I'd thought about it, and I'd kind of like read a lot into it. I listened to so many podcasts, and I just basically wanted to make sure that it was the right decision for us, it was the right decision for me, and that, it was just overall the right decision. And anyway, the decision was made that we would try for kids, and here I am. I'm pregnant, and it's so very, very exciting. I have to admit, it definitely happened a lot quicker than we thought it was going to happen. We never knew, obviously, how long it would take, but we were super, super lucky that it happened quite quickly for us. So that's been amazing, and it's just been an amazing journey and process so far. I think, obviously, a massive part of my thought process was my career and scuba diving in general. Scuba diving and traveling, has been my career now for, I don't know, nearly 10 years, I guess. Like definitely like the travel part, and then scuba diving whereas I can. Definitely couldn't afford to scuba dive a lot while traveling, back in the early days. But yeah, my whole career, my whole personality, everything inside of me, I feel like is, Sarah from Girls at Scuba, or scuba diver, or traveller, coffee than travel, like it's so ingrained in me. It's who I am, and it's like my identity, I guess. And I think when I was going through the process of thinking about having kids, I was like, how does that fit in to having kids, and I think basically I just came to the conclusion that it doesn't, and that's okay. It doesn't fit into it, like slot into it, and I carry on my normal life as usual, because that's just not realistic. But of course, there's just like ways to adapt it. And I think I went from pregnancy and being a parent to ruining your life to actually it making your life different but better, and that my whole life forever can't just be scuba diving and traveling. I hope that a part of my life forever is going to be that, but it can't be my whole life. And I'm 33 now. I will be 34 when I give birth. And I still feel too young. I still feel like I'm super young to have kids. But I mean, realistically, I'm not. And it's the right time for us. My husband's 36. And he'll nearly be 37. So it's the right time for us. It's definitely a journey that I didn't ever envision myself being on. And one that I'm just very grateful to be going through. So a lot of you have been asking, will I still be scuba diving? Well, the quick answer is no, because you're not actually supposed to scuba dive when you're pregnant. Now, there's been some studies. The studies aren't amazing. However, I understand why there haven't been like more and more studies, because if you are pregnant and you know it and you're planning to keep the pregnancy, there is these added risks going scuba diving. For instance, not that I ever would, because I'm a very safe diver, but if you were to go into decompression and you got decompression sickness, I think that would be very detrimental to your health, of course, and also your babies as well. So there haven't been like more studies recently, I think, with women who know that they're pregnant. I think that from what I can see, some of the studies have been when women didn't know they were pregnant and they did scuba dive. And there has been a percentage of pregnancies of the babies that did come with some complications, which might have been because of scuba diving. So I think overall it's just a hobby which is not recommended when you're pregnant. And of course, I am going to go by that advice because I want to keep my baby safe, I want to keep myself safe, and of course it's something that can be avoided. So I am not going to be scuba diving these 9 months. We're already halfway through, and I don't want to put any pressure on myself once I've given birth. I live in England, let's be honest, so I'm not going to like run from the hospital after I've given birth and dive straight into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, I'm giving birth in October, so it'll be like, I don't know, maybe 10 degrees. That's just not realistic, and I'm not going to rush off to go traveling and leave my child either. So I think that I've made a decision that I will be taking a year out of scuba diving. So I actually already have planned my next trip, which will be in September 2023, which is the Girls at Scuba trip to Egypt. So the great thing about my job is that we do plan quite far in advance, so I can almost like plan the next time that I will be scuba diving. So yeah, like that's just what's going to work for me personally, and I'm actually really, really happy with that decision, and it feels very realistic and it feels very like achievable for me. And a lot of you have asked like, oh my God, like, are you missing scuba diving? Like, how are you coping? And like, I have to be totally honest, I'm not missing scuba diving because I have been scuba diving since I was 19 years old, and I've been so lucky, as you guys know from watching this channel, that I have done so much scuba diving. I've been to like all of the most amazing destinations in the world, and it's of course my #1 hobby forever and ever, and I love it so much. But you know, the last time I scuba dived was in November, and I got pregnant in January, and you know, so what we're talking like 7 months, and going through COVID of 2 years, I think taught me very well. But also, you know, I think that going back to like me very much enjoying change, it's been a really great journey being pregnant, and for me to be like, oh, I just wish I was scuba diving, almost as like I wish I wasn't pregnant, and that's just not the case. And at the moment I don't miss it. I'm not like waking up and being like, all I want to do is go scuba diving. But you know, maybe that's going to happen further on in the pregnancy and once I've given birth. I think probably once I've given birth I might miss it a bit more. At the moment I'm so kind of focused on keeping my baby safe and, you know, doing all the right things during pregnancy that it's not really like, well, I wish I could be scuba diving. I also massively think it helps that every single day running Girls at Scuba, I'm talking about scuba diving, I'm connecting with people, you know, I'm hearing stories, I'm seeing pictures, videos, everything like that, you know, like I work full time on Girls at Scuba, so my whole day is talking about scuba diving, being involved in it. So while I can't physically be there, I definitely feel like I've got such a connection still to dive in. So yeah, but quite surprised that I don't miss scuba diving, but yeah, that's just kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. Okay, next up, travel. Everyone is asking, am I still going to be traveling? And that answer is yes, absolutely. In fact, I went to Jordan for 4 weeks. I went to Jordan for a month when I was 11 weeks pregnant, and I knew I was pregnant. So I went from 11 till like 14 weeks or 15 weeks. No, 15. 11 till 15 weeks. I was in Jordan, and I was hosting our Girls at Scuba trip to Jordan. I think I was 11 weeks pregnant. By the time we got to the dive-in part, I was 12 weeks pregnant. So I, of course, couldn't scuba dive, which meant I did have to tell the 20 girls that I was hosting that I was pregnant, which was kind of wild because they were like some of the first people that I told. Like, I hadn't told my brothers by then, and I'm really close with my brothers, and like that made me feel super anxious because I was just like, I'm telling effectively these like 20 strangers. I mean, by that time they weren't because we've been together 3 days, but like I'm telling these 20 girls my huge news for me. And yeah, I haven't told like my friends and family, but that was just the way it went, and that's kind of what I had to do. I wasn't gonna lie and kind of make excuses like why I wasn't scuba diving. I felt like that would be really like inauthentic and just kind of like, I'm sure they probably would have guessed, you know. So I was super lucky that I went to Jordan. I had a pretty tough first trimester, like many women. Sickness, like so exhausted, fatigue, just basically feeling like all I wanted to do was like sit on the sofa and sleep, and then wake up and like maybe eat and then like sleep again. But like all I wanted was juice. So I just wanted like orange juice, grapefruit juice, and like oranges. So it just wasn't fun. Like, it just wasn't a fun few weeks. And I was very concerned about going to Jordan, but it was all organised and had been organised, you know, for over a year. And it was something that I really wanted to do. So I just was, I don't know, I think I like manifested it, because I would say like literally 2 days before I flew, my symptoms almost completely disappeared. And I would kind of got out of that kind of first trimester phase, even though I was still like 11 weeks. By the time I flew to Jordan, I was absolutely exhausted. I was like wiped out for like 4 days, the first 4 days. But the sickness had gone, and I wasn't feeling like all I wanted to do is sleep the whole time. My midwife said it might have been like the change of temperature, change of time zones, everything like that. But like, actually, I had a really great trip there for 4 weeks. I felt absolutely fine. We missed our NHS 12-week scan here in England because obviously I was away. So I went and did it in Jordan, which was so fun because it's just such a different experience. It was just lovely. You know, I've got really great friends out there that helped me. As some of you know, like my brother used to live out there, and we actually ended up, by like complete coincidence, because I still hadn't told my brother at this time, going to the same doctor that they'd been to with their son. So it was super cute and lovely, and we had a great scan there, and everything was great. And then I continued on my trip for another 10 days after that, and then returned home. So traveling in general was like absolutely fine in Jordan. This weekend I'm going to Denmark, and then I'm flying to Finland. So that's just like a personal like trip. My husband's coming with me to Denmark. He used to live there, so we're gonna like explore places he used to live. And then I'm flying by myself to Finland to go and see my brother and family, and then yeah, flying home, which will be great. And then after that, I will be off to Mexico for the Girls That Freedive trip for about 2 weeks in Mexico. That's a few weeks after I return, and then we're hoping to go on some kind of like baby moon, like last holiday destination somewhere before the baby is born. So yeah, I'm definitely still traveling. I'm still doing trips within the UK as well. So yeah, I don't plan to kind of stop that at all. Like, of course, the scuba diving part's not going to be part of it, but I'm still going to be very actively traveling and exploring new places and just doing the things that I love. I think I've been very lucky in pregnancy so far to not experience too many extreme symptoms, which allow me to travel. So yes, I will be traveling, but I won't be scuba diving. So that's about it, I think. I definitely want to put more time into YouTube, do some more like travel pregnancy videos, maybe like nearer the time talk about things that I'm buying for the baby. Spoiler alert, everything I've bought so far, which is not much, I've bought secondhand. We've got a pram secondhand and little bits of clothing and stuff. I haven't actually bought anything new at all, and I basically feel like a boss getting everything on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. And there's so much stuff, honestly. I feel like I could do a whole video about how to like kit out ready for a baby from Facebook Marketplace. So maybe I'll start doing stuff like that. Of course, it depends on like what kind of content you want, because yeah, we're not doing the content we used to do 5 years ago, traveling solo around Egypt and scuba diving and, you know, getting on buses and like not knowing where I'm gonna get, because that's just not my life anymore, guys. Like, stuff has changed. So let me know what you'd love to see, and if you have any more questions. And I hope you enjoyed this like chatty vlog. And I love hearing from other pregnant women who are like similar weeks pregnant. That's been so lovely to know that so many of you are going through this journey as well, especially scuba divers. I think that's really important as women, that we can like connect with each other. So drop a comment below, let me know if you're pregnant, if you're a scuba diver, how you're finding it, how you're feeling. And yeah, thank you so much for being so lovely and kind, and we'll speak soon.